Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Top 10 Songs. Today, we are in rock fantasy, as we said a couple days ago, with my buddy Steve Keeler, owner and proprietor here at this wonderful establishment. Welcome to the show, Steve, once again.
Thank you. I welcome you to come to Rock Fantasy.
Yeah,
and
thanks for
have
having
the Sea
me.
of Tranquility back here. And we do our year-end list here in December every year for our best ofs for the year.
Steve's been missing you guys, and he's been wanting to come back on the show.
You
So
know.
he wants to take part in this whole top 10 song craze. So
I find it fun, and I find it challenging. And I'm usually very busy. In the last couple of weeks, I've been super busy. And he said, "All right, dude, let's do a couple of these at once." And I'm like, "Wow." One of the bands we did tonight took a lot of effort because they have so much material. And even tonight, next week we could probably change at least the top 10 around and say, "Wait, how did I forget that one?" Or, of course, music. Even if you're tonight, we're doing the Doors.
We're doing the Doors.
We're going back to the '60s tonight. We're going back to the '60s when I was riding around the back seat of my dad's car, when we used to go camping and everything. And some of these songs that I picked tonight are reason why, because those songs lived with me for how many years now?
A long time.
And, and what big hits they were. And they were on WABC. And there was great pop music in the 60s, wasn't there?
There was.
You're not hearing like any of this on the pop channels in 2019.
And you turn on the TV and you see him on the Dick Clark Show and you see him on the Tonight Show and all that stuff. So, the Doors were basically a phenomenon. And I had a hard time with this list. Because like Steve and I were just talking before we went on air, it's like they didn't have a lot of albums, but every album was just packed to the gills with great songs.
Yes.
So for me, I found this really, really difficult. And like we always do, or actually like we always don't do, I have not seen Steve's list. He has not seen mine. So I'm curious to see.
Actually, there's a one on the other side.
That's right.
Hold that up, then. You're gonna.
I won't look. I promise I won't look.
It's gonna be on the internet.
All right, so Steve's gonna kick us off with his number 10, and we're gonna do the ping pong effect like we normally do. And I'm curious to see what he's got.
Number 10 is one of the Doors. I call them epic, long, heavy, insane songs because Jim was a little insane.
He was a lot of insane.
But he portrayed it into music like nobody else was. I mean, these were one of the strongest rock bands ever, and they started in the beginning of it.
Yep.
And you had that front man that everybody was eating up.
The crazy poet.
Yes. And earlier today I had a different number 10, but the number 10, and my wife actually said, "What about that song? I really like that song." And I said, "Oh, yeah. 5-1, which could probably be higher on the list. But it came in at number 10 and actually bumped out The End, which should probably be in there too. It could pass it next week, but that's my number 10 is 5-1.
Cool.
And what album was that off of? That was off of Boom.
Waiting for the Sun.
Waiting for the Sun, yeah.
And I know that because, you'll find
You
out
might
in a few
have
minutes.
something to do with it too.
My number 10 off the debut album The Doors is The Crystal Ship, which is just kind of like this haunting, psychedelic, lush little kind of ballady bit of weirdness. And
It's a great song.
It is. I totally dig that. And it was one of those songs that kind of bounced in and out of my list, and then at the end, I was like, you know what? There's no way I cannot have that in my top 10.
Mm-hmm.
So there it is, my number 10. What you got for number 9, Steve?
Number 9, the L.A. Woman record was one of my favorites.
That's a great one.
The Changeling.
Oh, yeah.
See Me Change. I just love that whole style with that song, how it flows, and the air I breathe, and
the lyrics are great.
Yeah. And, I didn't have that one on yesterday, and I'm like, wait, I was listening this morning when I got up, and my wife was like, what the hell are you doing? You're listening to all this music, and then I'm going back and forth, because we're working on a couple other lists today, and she's like, you're going from this to that, and then, I don't like that song, or I like that song, but she helped us out with number 10, but The Changeling off the L.A. Woman album, and
that's a great one.
That's my number 9.
That was in my original list, and it got booted for something else. But I love it. It's in my honorable mentions. All right, from my number 9 is probably the most kind of commercial tune, I think, on my list. Yeah, it definitely is. Touch Me from the Soft Parade.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great tune, though, right?
It doesn't just because it was on the radio and it was a big hit in the '60s doesn't mean you can't have it on our list.
Yeah,
I've got a couple, and I can't say if it's
the
on
horns
my list or
on
not,
it, and it's catchy.
It's very almost like the Doors meet like a lounge act.
Yeah,
almost like an Elvis kind of connection with the horns and the strings and everything in that.
Yeah, I dig it.
And he was kicking, and his voice was just perfect on that.
Yeah.
So my turn again. Number 8. Not to touch the earth.
Ooh.
Not to see the sun, right?
Yeah.
Nothing left to do but run.
And
that's off the Waiting for the Sun also. And
yeah.
I'm leaning towards a little bit of the heavier stuff here.
Nothing wrong with that.
But that Not to Touch the Earth, I mean, it kicks ass.
Yeah.
Not that the other stuff doesn't, but the Not to Touch the Earth to me is one of their heavier songs. And, Jim's telling a story. A lot of their stuff is spooky, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
there was no band like them.
They were the first ones to kind of do the whole Moog. Are they like with the rock, with the organ and?
Yeah, he used the organ and the electric piano and yeah, great stuff. All right, my number 8 from the Morrison Hotel Peacefrog.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah,
kind of upbeat, hard rock, kind of funky.
I overlooked that one. I might have overlooked that one.
It's got a great beat. I love Robbie's guitar work. Yeah, and the vocals are just awesome on that.
When I was about 17, 18, I had a 340 souped up duster car, and I used to drive around, and kids used to say that I was the expert of the Doors, because I listened to the Doors constantly. I knew I read a book or something on Jim, and I knew all the stuff, and they'd come and hang out. I was like, what about Jim? What did he do here? I've forgotten a lot of it now, but that's many moons ago. But
fascinating guy.
Listened to all the 8 tracks. I'm showing my age, and most people don't think I know about this stuff because people think of rock fantasy as death metal and thrash metal, but I like everything, classic rock. And I mean, the store, and when we first opened, we probably didn't even have Doors and Grateful Dead and stuff like that.
That was all thrash and stuff.
But now, I mean, we're one of the last outposts for rock, so we have to take care of all of it. And, I love all this stuff. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're at number 7 now.
Number 7, yeah.
This was another one that was on the AM radio a lot when I was riding around the back seat of those 1960 Buicks and whatnot with the parents and relatives. Love Her Madly.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Off the L.A. Woman album again, and that's just another song that touched me. And
addicting hooks. I mean,
don't you love her madly? Anyhow, that was my number 7.
That's a good one. My number 7, the title track off of Strange Days.
Oh,
the height of their psychedelic era, I would think, right? It doesn't get much better than that.
Supposedly that was written by Jim after a trip to New York City. I was reading about that a little bit earlier today. And he took a trip to New York City, and it was kind of about the hippie movement and the youth movement and the rock music and like Strange Days Upon Us and how this was so offensive to most. I mean, people thought the Beatles were long-haired wild ones, and what happened when the Doors showed up,
totally different.
They thought Elvis was offensive, and then you're getting Jimmy, and you're getting the Doors, and you're moving to that next plateau.
Yep. So that was my number 7. I love the Strange Days album. It's so cool. So what do you got for number 6, Steve?
Another hit that was on the radio. Come On and Touch Me, Baby.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Which you already had, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you had that, and yep. That's another one that was just a good one.
So my number 6, you're going to start to see a lot of what Steve and I both call the Doors epics coming up in the top part of my list. So for me, and this was initially a little bit higher on my list, but then there's just some other stuff that just knocked it down a little bit. I love it because it's long, it's weird, it's got all these different changes in it. The title track to the Soft Parade.
Great song.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Yeah, I kind of overlooked that one too, but there's so many.
Yeah.
I've got a whole bunch of honorable mentions to talk about even at the end of the list if we do that still.
Absolutely, yep.
So where are we at now? You just did number 6?
I did number 6. We're in the top 5. Here we go.
Number 5, Strange Days.
There you go.
Which he just had on his list.
I knew we were going to have some similarities.
Of course we are. I think we're going to have a couple more. I'd be surprised if we didn't. But Strange Days Upon Us, very haunting.
Yeah.
People Are Strange is another great song, but I like the Strange Days better if we're talking about the two Strange songs.
I totally agree with you. Yeah. Totally agree.
People Are Strange was probably on the radio a lot more.
It was. Yeah, that was the big hit single from
yeah.
that. Yeah. So my number 5, you've already hit on from the Waiting for the Sun album, 5 to 1.
Strong song.
Domino.
It's probably one of their heaviest songs.
I think so, yeah.
Might be their heaviest.
Yeah, and that's an aggressive
It's almost like a metal song.
Yeah, for the time, right? That was what, like 1969, 68,
no one here
maybe?
gets out alive.
Yeah.
And,
Snarling vocal from Jim.
Oh, yeah.
Great tune. All right, what are we up to? Number 4. Go for it.
Number 4 is Light My Fire.
Yeah.
It might be, some people might say it's played out, but you know what?
It's still a great tune.
I do not listen to the radio.
So all this
So
stuff
if
is still
you're a
fresh
guy
to
that
you.
just listens to PDH, and you got to listen, maybe
Or
nothing
satellite or
wrong with
whatever.
PDH. They do what they do, and people love them, and we're friends with PDH also. But if you're listening to the satellite radio or one of these radio stations, you're going to get that fed to you every day, and you're going to say, "How can you listen to that ever again?"
Yep.
I don't listen to the radio once in a while, but I mean, we've got so much music here. I've got so much music to listen to that I don't need to listen to the radio. I mean, I'll catch it at the shop.
So if you hear Light My Fire 2 or 3 times a year, it's cool, right?
Of course,
Yeah.
like any other classic rock song that's been played to death, if you're getting fed just the radio.
Yeah. Yep.
Like Black Sabbath, Paranoid, whatever else. We can go down
Stairway
the
to
line.
Heaven, Hotel California.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a great tune, though. Ironically, well,
It's a strong song too,
It is.
Light My Fire.
and it's another epic, basically, right?
Oh,
So
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
And I hate whenever you do hear that on the radio and they cut out half of Robbie Krieger's guitar solo, or if not more than that.
That condensed version,
Oh,
right?
every time I hear
the
that, I'm
single
like,
version.
Yeah. Well, that's a travesty anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go on a rant on that. My number 4, back to the Morrison Hotel album, Waiting for the Sun.
Awesome song.
Right? I mean, that was actually higher on my list, but the 3 that are going to come next are just,
Yeah.
for me, really, really
I
close.
think it was supposed to be on my list. Maybe I see it scribbled on the side here, but it didn't make it. It might be number 11. Well, number 11 was the end, so this is coming in close after.
Yeah, it's a great one. That's a great one. So, all right, top 3. Here we go.
Well, the top 3 could be the number 1 because it's probably one of their strongest songs that you can always listen to, and it's all about hanging out in a bar, playing with a rock and roll band. It's the Roadhouse Blues. I mean, how do you go against the Roadhouse Blues? What a classic song.
Redone by many bands
Oh,
over the
yeah.
years, right? There's a
Deep
reason for
Purple
that.
even. I
Deep
don't know if
Purple
they
is-
did it quite the justice that Jim did. No. But Roadhouse Blues is my number 3. That's also off, the Morrison Hotel.
Yeah.
It was actually a B-side when it came out. You Make Me Real was the hit single off it,
Ah.
and that was on the B-side, and I think things probably flipped over
Yeah, 'cause
eventually.
You Make Real is good, but it doesn't quite compare.
That was, as I record companies are sitting there, what's going to be the hit? What's going to be... But Roadhouse Blues, everybody was playing that on a jukebox, I bet you.
Yeah.
Well, because we're talking about 45 records.
That was a biker bar tune, right?
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
It definitely was, and I mean, it was probably more than biker at that time, because everybody was listening. Yeah, but definitely, that was a biker classic, I'd say.
Yep.
Roughnecks would like the
Yep.
Roadhouse Blues. But who doesn't like the Roadhouse Blues? Went to the Roadhouse and had myself a beer.
That's right.
I bet you PDH has played that more than once.
I think so.
Like once a day, twice a day.
Or once every couple hours.
Hey,
Yeah.
Tig Man, give us a call. I know you don't work there anymore. But anyhow,
All right, my number 3
we're getting down to the bottom here.
from his L.A. Woman album,
It's a Casey Kasem.
Riders on the Storm.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
You
I
know what?
love
Didn't
that
make
tune.
my top 10,
No?
but it should be, probably.
Yeah, well, that's why these lists are so hard, because there's a couple that you mentioned already that aren't on mine, and I'm like,
You're
oh,
like, it should have been there, maybe. Yeah.
that's a great tune. It's
Like your-
mellow. It's just
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, I dig it. So
And it's haunting.
it is.
And it's another one of these spooky, haunting, driving. You're driving in a rainstorm and a foggy, and
the electric
the
piano
riders in the
and the
storm.
liquid
Yeah.
guitar solo, and Jim's very understated vocals in that.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I dig it.
So we're all the way up to number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2 is one of my favorite Doors songs. Of course, that's why it's number 2. Break On Through to the Other Side.
Yeah.
It's just a rocking song, and it drives. You can get a speeding ticket listening to that one if you're driving the car, right?
And what a statement that is. The first song on their debut album. And they
Yeah,
started
that's
off a lot of
right.
concerts
Yeah,
with that.
it's the debut album, the first song, yeah.
Yeah. something to be said for that. It's what a statement. Yeah, great tune. Great tune.
And how heavy did that must have sounded? What year was it debut?
That was what, 67, right?
67, yeah. I mean, that was as heavy as anything out there, right? That,
yeah.
Driving.
Great stuff.
Your number 2. What do we got?
This is the end.
This is the end.
My only friend.
Another song that's just an epic, long. I think this is one of the first bands that, somebody might say I'm wrong with this, but looking at it today, it's like these guys did these long songs with
8-10 minutes long.
Yeah,
there really wasn't a lot of bands.
A lot of parts to them and changes, and it was just you didn't see that too much. I don't think in '66. Everything was usually a 3-minute song.
Yeah, I think,
rock.
The Who did a quick one.
The Who,
was the first time, right? But the Doors were doing, longer songs at that time.
They were definitely a groundbreaking band for sure.
And I always really liked the end a lot, but I think it's when I first saw the Apocalypse Now movie.
Okay,
one great scene where I was the tune just absolutely rules. Because it was so perfectly placed in that movie. All right, number 1. Here we go. Drum roll, please. What do you got,
Steve? My number 1 is L.A. Woman. It's just got that whole vibe.
That's another driving in the car.
Hanging out in L.A. You got the girls. You got Jim. This is all Jim talking about himself, I believe.
Yeah.
L.A. Woman, sunny afternoon. Got me the summer Indian blues, right? I like to do that one in karaoke. So if you come to get me out of karaoke, I will do L.A. Woman.
See that? You heard it here.
I will also do Take It As It Comes, if somebody can pull it up.
That's a good one, too. Yeah.
Another one. That's one of my honorables, yeah.
Good one. All right, my number 1. Sticking on the epic topic.
I can't wait to hear.
I think you know what it's going to be.
What's going to be? Casey Kasem's
Strange Days When the Music's Over.
Wow. Yeah, you went with the long epics for the first 2
hits
hits here.
I love them.
Not the hits, but the number 1 and 2 are, what, each one of those is about 8 minutes long.
At least, and then you throw in Riders on the Storm as long, and then you throw the Soft Parade, so half of my list is all long tunes.
Yeah.
And, When the Music's Over to me is just so incredible.
It's like you've got a lot of honorable mentions.
I do.
I was looking at the top of your list. I'm like, wait a minute. Breaking through. So you want me to do my honorables first?
Let's hear some honorables, Steve. Go for it.
Honorable mentions from the Doors. Of course, the end we mentioned already. Been Down So Long.
Oh, that's on mine.
Alex Cates used to come and play here. He's a blues guitar player from upstate New York, and he would come in and he would do that song. And I was like, man, that song awakened. Sometimes you'll go see a cover band or someone playing some material from, and like, wow, that's really good. Queen of the Highway.
Good one. Yeah.
That one was in my top 10, and it was just like I watched one of your shows yesterday when you guys were doing the Dio, and it's like. It's a great song, but it isn't better than the ones I had on there. But I just love Queen of the Highway.
Nothing wrong with that. It's a great tune.
Riders of the Storm, of course.
Yep.
Maggie McGill.
Maggie
McGill was on mine. And Waiting for the Sun was there, too.
Waiting for the Sun, yep.
And, and I mean, there's really not many Doors songs I hate.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any
really weak songs.
No, you're absolutely right.
But, they didn't have that much material because Jim burned out so quick.
I know.
All right, your honorables.
All right, my honorables. Some we've already mentioned. So from the first album, Break On Through, Soul Kitchen we didn't talk about. I dig that.
Great song.
Alabama Song. That's fun, right? That's
a
tune. Light My Fire, obviously. End of the Night. That's another creepy-ass song, right? Off Strange Days, Your Lost Little Girl. Love Me Two Times. Moonlight Drive. People Are Strange, which you mentioned. From Waiting for the Sun, Hello, I Love You. Love Street, Not to Touch the Earth.
Summer's Almost Gone. Yeah. Another good one.
Spanish Caravan.
Oh, yeah.
The Unknown Soldier.
I forgot about that
one. From Soft Parade, Tell All the People. Easy Ride. That's pretty cool.
Wild Child.
That was it.
Strong one, yeah.
Yeah, that was in my original top 10, and it got booted.
Cool.
Roadhouse Blues from Morrison Hotel, Ship of Fools, Maggie McGill. And from L.A. Woman, The Changeling, which was also in my top 10.
I don't know if you left any songs out.
I did leave some.
One or two.
The Wasp, Texas Radio and the Big Beat, Lover Madly, Been Down So Long, and L.A. Woman. So, I mean, that covers. There's so many great songs. So, all right, I'm just going to run down my top 10 real quick. I have Steve do his as well. Number 1, When the Music's Over. Number 2, The End. Number 3, Riders on the Storm. Number 4, Waiting for the Sun. Number 5, 5 to 1. Number 6, The Soft Parade. 7, Strange Days. 8, Peacefrog. 9, Touch Me, and 10, The Crystal Ship. Go for it.
Well, we started off with number 1, L.A. Woman. Sunny Afternoon. Break On Through was number 2. The Roadhouse Blues was number 3. Light My Fire, number 4. Strange Days was at 5. Number 6 was Touch Me. 7, Love Her Madly. 8, Not to Touch the Earth. 9, The Changeling. I don't know if that made any of yours.
It's on my honorable.
It did. Okay, it did. Yep. And 10 was 5 to 1.
Cool.
And that's it for the Doors.
That's it for
the
Doors.
Then the music's over. Hey, we don't make music on because it's YouTube, right?
Yeah.
They'll say, no, you don't have the right for that.
So that's our Doors Top 10 Songs. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on the mighty YouTube as often as possible. Thanks again for Steve for coming on the show and having us here at Rock Fantasy. But don't go away because we got more coming. We are going to do Testament, and we also have the Rolling Stones. So
check us out. RockFantasy.com.
That's
Rock
right.
Fantasy Concert Shop, Instagram, and we have a Rock Fantasy Facebook. So
that's right.
Here in sunny downtown Middletown,
New York, Orange County, the mecca of Orange County. So hang in, guys. We'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.